Back in late 2008, Sega released a strategy RPG that was quite unlike anything else out there on the PlayStation 3. It featured stunning graphics, killer gameplay, and a beautiful story with a World War backdrop. It was powerful, addicting, and challenging. And now, almost a decade later, they're re-releasing Valkyria Chronicles for the PlayStation 4. And I can tell you right now, if you missed it the first time around, this is an absolute incredible game that has aged perfectly and is well worth your time, effort, energy, and money. Valkyria Chronicles features exceedingly simple and addicting gameplay. Before starting a mission, players have to select which troops to deploy. There are a total of 5 classes you can select: Scout, Shock Trooper, Lancer, Engineer, and Sniper. Each has its own strengths and weaknesses, and some classes are much more effective on certain missions compared to others, so it's wise to mix and match based on the intel you receive for the upcoming mission. Once your troops are deployed, that's where the game's unique gameplay really shines. At the start of a player's turn, all troops are displayed as icons on a large map, and at the very top of the screen are command points. These are displayed as giant gold medals. Each class requires 1 CP, or command point, to activate. However, the tank requires 2. Once you select your unit, the camera zooms in to a traditional third-person shooter view where you can actually move your unit. Each unit can only move a certain amount based on their action points, or AP. That means you can take a scout, for example, and race on ahead to see if there are any enemies lying in wait. Some of the stronger units, like the Shock Trooper or Lancer, don't have as many AP, and therefore aren't able to move quite as far. Once you do spot an enemy and you go ahead and engage in combat, the system switches again. It's not based on points, but rather ammunition. Each unit can fire a select number of times per turn. This is why it's so important to ensure you match your units correctly. In other words, don't have a scout go up against a shock trooper, or that's not going to end too well for the scout. You don't need to always engage in combat either. Healing or repairing your tank all work exactly the same, 1 action per turn. Once you're done with a unit, you end the turn and move on to the next unit until you've exhausted all of your command points, and then it's the enemy's turn to proceed. It's extremely simple to get into, but let me tell you, it takes a very long time to master. This is one of those games where the minor details add up. You learn very early on that terrain is important, and so too is unit placement. Some units have a natural affinity to grass, earth, etc., and by ensuring said unit is in their desired spot, ensures you will have an advantage, or what the game calls battle potential or personal potential, basically special abilities. As time goes by, units will even develop bonds for one another, making them stronger as a pair, both defensively and offensively. Taking cover can also really save your life. I can't stress how important it is to crouch down behind sandbags or position your units behind wooden fences, behind a tank, or some other area of cover. When it's the enemy's turn to move, you can bet they will single out that one lone unit that's unprotected. If your units fall in combat, you have 3 turns to reach them for an emergency evacuation, or else they'll be dead for good. That's right, permadeath. You have a reserve of about 20 units, but still, you form bonds with these troops and won't want them to die. In the event that troops do fall, you can always call in reinforcements from your base. This is extremely important to remember, as you don't want to be at a disadvantage while in battle. Be warned though, calling in new units uses up command points. Each mission is unique, forcing you to think on your feet. You might have to take out an enemy leader, take over a base, or wait a set number of turns for reinforcements to arrive, to clearing out a minefield, and so much more. What I really enjoyed was how simple strategy RPG mission types, like the ones I've already mentioned, all feel incredibly fresh and unique here because of the fantastic gameplay. It all comes together in a very unique way. The entire game takes place within a storybook. Players view each chapter as a mix between cutscenes and gameplay, and I absolutely loved this as it makes the game feel really unique. The storybook allows players to easily navigate through the campaign, but also allows access to other areas of interest including skirmishes, training field, R&D facility, and much more. Each of these is used for a different purpose. Skirmishes are missions where you can build up experience and money. Experience can then be used in the training field to level up your classes. And one of the best features of Valkyria Chronicles is that you don't need to level up single units, but rather the whole class, meaning all characters of that class will level up together. Money is then used at the R&D facility to purchase upgrades for your weapons, armors, and tank. And while I've focused solely on gameplay up to this point, I should mention that the story is fantastic. Valkyria Chronicles oozes charm at every corner, and while some of the voice acting can be a little bit stiff at times, the story is riveting. The story deals with a small country trying to prevent a military superpower from invading and stealing a special resource that fuels virtually everything, from weapons to medical supplies. You take on the role of a military strategist who is trying to push back the enemy, and even though you're in a militia and not the grand military, you're still doing your part. That's what makes the story so captivating. You're essentially a group of townspeople that are doing what they feel is right by protecting their homeland. The greater world war conflict going on outside their country is no stranger to them, and once the ravages of war are at their home front, they'll pretty much do anything to save the people they love. The audio-visual presentation is fantastic, and yes, this does still look like a PlayStation 3 game, but it looks so incredible on the PlayStation 3. Now it's running on the PS4 in 1080p 60 frames per second, and it looks better than ever. In fact, it looks incredible. There are pretty much no technical hiccups whatsoever. From the smooth frame rate to the lush graphics, it all comes together in a beautiful package. The art design alone is amazing, from the painting-like aesthetic to the little touches like seeing "Brr" written when a tank tracks move along. The audio is even better than it was on the PS3. I don't know what it is with the PS4, but man, the audio chip must be incredible because surround sound just sounds incredible on every PlayStation 4 game, and the same is true here. About the only negative thing that I can say about this entire game is that the AI is a bit questionable. Sometimes I had one unit that would be out of cover, and for whatever reason, the enemy just did not take him down. They would do everything in their power but take him down, which is very, very, very odd. It didn't happen often, and I think it's better than it was on the PlayStation 3, but overall, the artificial intelligence still isn't quite perfect. You know, I've played a lot of strategy RPGs in my day, from Fire Emblem to Shining Force to you name it, and I can say without a doubt that Valkyria Chronicles is one of the very best strategy RPGs I've ever played. This remastered version should be purchased by everyone even remotely interested in this genre. As a matter of fact, I would even recommend it to those that aren't big fans of the genre just because of how unique it plays. It's an incredible video game and a true achievement Sega should be very proud of.
Captain Virat, I'd like to introduce Squad 7's newest addition, Hans.
Hans, I hear you performed admirably today. I expect great things from you. Dismissed.
Oh, look!